Dear St. Anthony, please come around, for something's lost that must be found. Ah, I found it. And we also found something that you're going to love on today's Healthy Flavors. We went to Boston's North End for St. Anthony's Feast, and it was incredible. Great food, great fun, all around fantastic time. This has been going on for over 90 years. And on today's show, we're going to recreate some of the incredible food that we had there. We're going to make a butternut squash ravioli, a whole wheat sausage and pepper pizza with caramelized onions, and last but not least, a chocolate ravioli. So trust me, you don't have to be a saint to enjoy today's Healthy Flavors.
Healthy Flavors is made possible by Filippo Berrio Olive Oil. Where do you get your inspiration? A pinch, a dash, a splash. Filippo Berrio, our tradition, your inspiration. And Dietz & Watson, meats and artisan cheeses. Expect the best.
For me, the best thing about traveling is getting to try all the local flavors. And Boston's North End was all of that. Just watch.
The name Boston came from a town in Lincolnshire in England where many of the Puritans had come from. We're here on State Street, and behind us is the old State House, which in 1712 was called the Town Hall. This was a very important street because all of the trade would come up and down what was called in those days King Street, and now is State Street. The tradition of the public market that started at Faneuil Hall and then continued on to the Quincy Market for many years now continues in what's been called the Haymarket area for the residents of Boston to come and buy their produce and meats. We're just at the beginning of the North End. The North End is just on the other side of the street.
The North End is a 1.3 square mile area. We have about 110 different restaurants featuring great foods, but it's a lot of family. This festival started back in 1919. A lot of our ancestors were part of this. So we're different generations that have moved up and able to pick up the reins and keep the festival going. And being successful in 90 years, we're pretty proud of that moment.
I grew up in the neighborhood, and the feast was a part of my life. It was the best time of year. It was better than Christmas. It was something you look forward to all year long. He, to me, is the patron saint of the North End. Every old timer you meet or see will say a prayer to St. Anthony. If it's something that you're looking for, something that you've lost, someone that's sick.
A lot of people that have a devotion in the Catholic religion want to give something personal to the statue. Some cases it was monetary, in other cases it was personal belongings. Pocket watches, gold rings, wedding bands, a number of different personal belongings because that was their patron saint and they wanted to show their devotion.
The first time I was allowed to carry St. Anthony, I was 16 years old and asked if I would be able to get under for at least 5 minutes, and man, I felt like I was 15 feet tall.
This is a great Italian recipe, and this butternut squash is such a wonderful, wonderful, rich. Look at those colors. Is that not gorgeous or what? Wonderful flavors. Now, of course, we're gonna be putting this into a ravioli, and this is obviously a great traditional, well, not a traditional, but this is a great Italian recipe. But don't forget, until Columbus set sail in 1492, he sailed the ocean blue. We know that. Until then, Italy, or the rest of the world, didn't have any squashes of any kind. Zucchini, yellow squash, any of the winter squashes, they had zero. So all the squashes are part of the New World, and they went back and became hugely popular pretty quickly, right away. Unlike, say, things like tomatoes, which were part of the nightshade family, and they thought they were poisonous. So that's more history than you want to know. But let's go ahead, and I can microwave these if I want to. I'm going to put them onto a pan, though, and stick them into the oven for about 30 minutes until this becomes very tender. This is very hard right now. You want this to become nice and tender, where it's easily gets scooped out. If I wanted to, I could put a little water into this pan. That's perfectly okay also, but I really don't. I wanted to get that roasted flavor where I get that wonderful caramelization, and it brings out some natural sugars. So I have some ready to go, and I'm gonna put that into a food processor along with, of course, my garlic. People say, you use a lot of garlic. I'm like, you have no idea. What I do on the show and what I do at home, totally different, because I love garlic. And some shallots. I've got some sage here and some ricotta cheese. This is going to be wonderful. So I'm going to take these, scoop this flesh out. You just don't want to get any of the skin on there. So I'll take all this out, and you don't have to worry about getting it like super smooth, but you want it fine enough that when you put it into the filling, it can get a real nice tight ravioli. Wonton wrappers, in my personal opinion, make fantastic raviolis because look how thin those are. You're never going to roll your pasta this thin. I have our mixture here. Let me give the egg wash first. I'm going to put a little egg wash on here. And the egg wash is going to help keep this sealed, because the one thing that we are going to want to make sure does not happen to this wonderful ravioli is that it pops open when we cook it. So I'm going to put some of our filling down right here. And take another of our wonton wrappers. I'm telling you, they make fantastic, fantastic raviolis. Now, one thing I want to do is just kind of circle this around. I want to try to push my air pockets out. So I'm going to go put these in very quickly, and our filling is cooked. So it's not like we have any raw product here. So when the wrappers are done, our wonton wrappers are done, this is done. This is going to be a sauce, so I want to use the extra virgin olive oil. Again, great extra virgin should look wonderful, smell wonderful, and this Filippo Berrio certainly does. This is an olive oil sauce, but of course this is monounsaturated fat, which is the good fat. It actually will help you lower your cholesterol, something I can't live without. Also, some garlic, and I'm going to saute off a little bit of some shrimp, and I have some carrots here, some roasted peppers and broccoli. Flip there, woohoo, and hit it with a little bit of white wine, and a little bit of some parsley. Now, at Massimino's, it was awesome. Wasn't much different than that, except they used some heavy cream. Believe it or not, this is an extremely healthy dish for you. So we're going to leave that heavy cream out because we're going to save those calories for our wonderful dessert. And let me go ahead and plate some of the shrimp around here. And I'm just going to put some carrots and broccoli around here real quick. And let me grab a little bit more of the peppers and finish it off with drizzling a little bit more of this garlic, olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and white wine vegetable sauce here. And we have a first course ready to go that's going to take you to Boston's North End, where we have fantastic food and a festival that's been going on for over 90 years. And I feel like a little idiot here because I didn't even know it was going on. So, and I'll tell you what though, I'll be back year after year from this point forward, and I'm going to go ahead and take a big old bite out of that. When we come back, we're going to go to Regina's and get a St. Anthony's pizza.
true Regina pizza is a cheese pizza. Because time changes, you know, from our heritage pizza, we went on, we do prosciutto, we do rosemary ham, we do roasted pineapple. We try to do what we think is best that would hold up very well in our pizza. It's an institution. It's been here for 86 years, so it's known for pizza. One of the other pizzas is St. Anthony's pizza. When I think of St. Anthony, I think of sausage, peppers, and onions. So this one here is a white pizza with garlic sauce with sausage, peppers, and onions. And the best way to eat, you always have to cook it well done. My saying is, when the pizza's brown, it's cooking. When it's black, it's done.
Anthony, for you personally, what makes the festival special?
What makes it special is it's a tradition, and I get to see great friends and great people I've known for 40, 50 years. Sometimes, I mean, I feel like I'm a little kid when I see it. I get all excited. You can't wait for it, you know? It's really, really special. Chef, sit down.
Thank you so much. We're gonna make a great pizza that's not only a traditional pizza, but it's also heart healthy. So let's get started here. I'm going to cook off our sausage. We have just some Italian sausage. You can use sweet or spicy. It's totally up to you. And I'm going to use some Filippo Berrio extra virgin olive oil here. While that's heating up, we have two flours here. One's a all-purpose whole wheat flour. The other is another whole wheat flour that's pastry flour. And the reason why I'm using both of those is because of the fact that if I use a whole wheat flour, which is going to be high gluten to begin with, and the all-purpose is going to be stronger or more glutinous than a all-purpose flour that's not whole wheat. So I want to make it somewhat a little bit easier to work with, so we can roll that out. Our oil is getting nice and hot here. I'm going to add our Italian sausage. We just bought a raw Italian sausage that was in a casing. We removed the casing from it, and it's going to go into our saute pan right here. And we're just going to let that break up naturally. I have got some yeast that's been put into warm water, so I'm going to bounce back and forth. Normally, I would just make my dough or just do this, but we're going to show you how easy it is. That we'll just bounce back and forth. You see, you can still see a little bit of pink in our sausage, so we're going to finish letting that cook. And I'm also going to add some honey to this. You're going to need something for that yeast to feed on. I'm going to add a pinch of salt to that. Goes your salt. Over the shoulder for good luck. Don't forget that. And about a tablespoon of Filippo Berrio extra virgin olive oil. So I'm going to pulse this to start this going here. You're going to mix this long enough. You're going to have to knead it anyway. I have some fresh ricotta here that I am going to put our sausage into. Makes that cheese very easy to work with and spreadable. And I have some chopped onions that are going to go right into, and we're going to let that cook. Woohoo! I'm getting some great smells already. So let's see how our dough is. Finish kneading it. I want to put this dough in a glass bowl, put it aside in a warm area, see how much that has risen. I have a roasted pepper, and I'm just going to add these. Since this is roasted, they're just going to go in basically at the very end. And I have some fresh herbs here. I have some oregano. I have some basil. And I have some parsley. And we're going to saute those up. And that's ready to go. Turn that off. Now, you've always heard this term, punching your dough. What you're doing is you're releasing the gases that have occurred naturally through the yeast fermentation. So I'm going to give it a nice punch. You can hear the air in there. I can let this rise whole like this, or I can go ahead and divide this. We're going to get 6 pieces out of this. So I can roll it into a log and just cut it boom, boom, boom into my slices. And this is a very soft dough to work with. Again, we're not making large dough for us. This recipe, again, calls for making basically 2 12-inch pizzas. I've got our peppers and onions. And I'm going to transfer our dough right to here. And I'm ready to put our toppings on because I'm a garlic fanatic. I'm going to add some more garlic. I put our Filippo Berrio extra virgin olive oil in here. I'm going to spread this on. So let me put that down, spread some of this around. I'm going to take our roasted pepper, caramelized onion, and herb mixture. Ooh, that smells awesome. Awesome, awesome. I'm going to top it with some mozzarella cheese. So, slow it into the oven. But very simple, a perfect size for a single serving right there, the whole week, get you the multi-grains that you need. Wait till you see what we're gonna do for dessert. You're not gonna believe it. In fact, I'm gonna let Paul and Massimino's tell you about it.
St. Anthony's Festival in Italy has been around for hundreds of years, so it's like I'm in Italy right now. It's like I'm in my little town and we're reproducing it. Never planned to be in the business, but I grew up in it. Cooked with, as a little boy, cooked with my dad.
How long has Massimino's been here?
Luck is an amazing thing. We happened to open Massimino's in 1989. It happened to be next door to St. Anthony's Club, which happened to be from my town, which is Montevalcione.
So why is the festival so special to you?
When I was 12, I set up my first food stand. I sold watermelon, I sold corn on the cob, and then so little by little, this has been part of my life forever. The chocolate ravioli was an idea that I got from one of our fellow members, Feast Committee members, Joe. So I made a little pastry dough about this big. I got a little Nutella ravioli. I folded it over, deep fried it. I hit it with a little bit of powdered sugar and go, my God, good. So I started selling them one year. The first day I sold them, 2,000 chocolate raviolis. People went crazy, they loved them. So now it's a staple item.
I had these chocolate raviolis at St. Anthony's Feast, and they are incredible. I guarantee you're going to love these. And I hear a couple of people that are like, kind of, chocolate raviolis? I don't know. Well, think about it. When we talk about fritters, apple fritters, what do they start off as? Oyster fritters, shrimp fritters. When we talk about chocolate eclairs, what did those things start out as? That's a pot au choux. They were cheese puffs originally before sugar was added to them, and they became eclairs. Now, the chocolate part of it, I find very interesting, again, in the sense that the world did not have chocolate until the discovery of the Americas. And so now we have 2 raviolis using New World items. So I'm using a brown sugar substitute here. So I have a little mascarpone here with our brown sugar substitute. I put an egg in. I've got some whole wheat cracker. This is not sweet. This is just a whole wheat cracker crumb that I'm going to add to this and mix this up. And then I've got some melted bittersweet chocolate, dark chocolate. The dark chocolate has the antioxidants that we're looking for. And I'm going to fold that in. I want to make sure I put this in the microwave. It's cooling off in here. So you want to work pretty quickly with it before it hardens up too much. And I want to fold my chocolate in. So let me just make sure I get all that chocolate in there. Don't want to miss any chocolate. And let's mix this up. Fold that chocolate in. And here is our base for our chocolate raviolis. And the last thing is about a tablespoon of the Filippo Berrio extra light olive oil. And the extra light is just unbelievable for baking. I use it for baking all the time. Items using a sugar substitute, the extra light is crucial because sugar has not only a sweetness effect to it, it also has a moisture effect. And a sugar substitute does not. So when you take the sugar substitute and you lose that moisture, I want to add more moisture back to it. So I'm going to substitute the butter, which is 82% butterfat, 18% water, that dries the product out, that water does, and replace it with the extra light, which is 100% of a fat. Also, it's a good fat, the monounsaturated fat, which again will actually help lower your cholesterol. Again, we're going to use wonton wrappers. Now these are a little bit different. I just wanted to show you that if you go to the store, the first ones we were using were round. These are square. but I want to make this nice and easy. Reality is that you're going to buy wonton wrappers. And when you buy the wonton wrappers and use them for the butternut squash ravioli, you might as well use them for the chocolate ravioli as well. Now, the raviolis that I had were fried. And you could fry these if you want to, but I think you will like them. And Paul off camera told me that he actually likes them when they're lightly boiled or steamed. And so same process as when we made the butternut squash raviolis. That's the same idea. Don't put too much filling in there. You want to put just a little bit of filling in here because it's going to expand. We have that egg in there. And that egg is not only going to help it expand, it's also going to help firm everything up so things don't break. And I'm going to take the raviolis, fold them over, and again, seal them. So I have some water that's coming to a boil. I'm using what we call a sauteur, a pan with edges, but it's not like a deep pan. And the reason why I'm using that is I want to control how much water that's in there. It's just a little bit easier for me. I'll add our raviolis. Again, I'm doing this for a dinner party. I'm going to do as many as this pan will hold, and then I will put them on to cookie sheets that I've put a little bit of our Filippo Berrio extra light olive oil on, and I can keep them warm that way. And I will take them, and this is going to give it a little bit of crispiness at the same time. And when you try this, you're going to be amazed. I have just some raspberries that we pureed. I used a little bit of sugar substitute in that, and I'm just going to drizzle them right on here. And it's some beautiful white peaches. That just happens to be something I had. We pureed them, and I'm going to put a little bit of the white peach right on here. I'm going to sprinkle with a little bit of cocoa powder, and we are going to dig into our chocolate raviolis. I might not be 100% Italian, unfortunately, but I am 100% a fan of the St. Anthony's Feast. I hope you have now a great picture about St. Anthony's Feast. I'm going to go every year from now on because not only is it a feast for my palate, it's also a feast for my eyes. It's so much fun finding a new place for healthy flavors.
Healthy Flavors is made possible by Filippo Berrio olive oil. Where do you get your inspiration? A pinch, a dash, a splash. Filippo Berrio, our tradition, your inspiration. And Dietz & Watson, meats and artisan cheeses. Expect the best.